everyone. I am really excited that we are here for our next episode of Brighter Days Through Better Movement. I was actually on the phone with someone earlier today and they said, wow, I just feel better. I don't know if it's the warm weather or I don't know if it's the longer days, but I'm feeling better. And that's what we're here for, is to help our community feel the best they can by the time the summer solstice comes on June 20th. This week, I'm really excited. I am joined by Lindsey Arcand, who is one of our dear physical therapists. And I like the fact that Dr. Lindsey Arcand is with us. She's been at Performance for many years because she was actually an exercise specialist with us before she went off to school, became a PT, and then joined our team in East Providence. So welcome, Lindsay. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
So it's been a really challenging year. We are over that year mark when our pandemic first hit, but we're definitely moving in the right direction. Our cases of COVID are going down, vaccinations are going up, our days are getting lighter, our days are getting brighter. Tell me, for your own perspective, your journey in the last year, what did you do to stay healthy? How did you manage it? And I'm sure there was dark times for everyone. But what were some of the things that you did to be like, all right, I'm going to get through this and be the healthiest I can?
Yeah, there's definitely some points of motivational issues in the beginning there when everything first shut down and life completely flips on its head. But I think for me, biggest thing was just still getting outside as much as I can. A year ago, we weren't in our house and we were living in a one-bedroom apartment. So definitely getting outside of those walls. We were lucky enough to live on the bike path in Warwick. So getting out onto the bike path and just taking some time while it was still sunny out to get a walk in, whether it's at lunchtime or before or after dinner, and just to get moving, get outside, enjoy something besides binge watching TV, because that became very easy to do. So that was my biggest coping mechanism over the past year or so.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right with you on the outside component. I think that obviously movement is really important, but there is something about that sunlight, the vitamin D, and getting outside. So for those people who are listening or watching, please put your questions up. Today we are going to be giving away a Nike zip-up sweatshirt as well as a Performance PT cap. So we would love to give that to someone who's actually listening. So please let us know who you are, let us know where you are, and if you've got questions specifically for Lindsay or myself, we'd be happy to answer those. You can also sign up online. Down below, you see performanceptri.com/live. That will put you in the drawing, because every week until the summer solstice happens, we are doing a drawing and giving away things. Like next week, we're giving away a Hyper Ice. So every week it's something different, but sign up through performanceptri.com/live. You will be in that drawing, but if you also comment today or ask any questions, you will get an extra bonus entry. So it's nice to see Roxanne Roush, who's in Woonsocket, is listening. Welcome, Roxanne, and please feel free to shoot out any questions. So some of the themes today that we're going to speak about and hear Lindsay's take on are related to stress and our mental health, dealing with a pandemic, not so much the pandemic, but how that impacts our ability to move and function and have good quality of life. We'll touch on nutrition and we'll touch on strength training. So let's delve into the dark side. Let's delve into strategies and the importance of being mindful, dealing with stress. You've been seeing many patients, Lindsay, through this last year in the clinic and via telehealth who are dealing with injuries, pain, different activity levels. What are some of the strategies and techniques that you utilize to help educate your patients when it comes to their overall stress management and their mental health?
I think step number one is finding what interests them the most and really rolling with that. A lot of times people have had their world absolutely flipped. They've not been able to do all of the things they want to do. So finding those resources to make those things accessible again to them, or find ways to work around them, because everyone's going to do things that they're more apt to do. And we really got to find those outlets in order to get us all moving. At this point, it's really easy to just focus on our stress and everything falling on our plate, but taking the time to pick out one or two things every day that you really enjoy and really work those into your everyday routine as well still, and finding consistency to really keep yourself going.
Do you think people understand how much stress plays and let's put it a different way. Do you think people understand how much stress and their mental health impacts how they manage pain and their physical health? Do you think people understand the association?
No, I spent a lot of time educating on that. A lot of times people will come in saying, I've got a list of these 10 things going on and I don't have time for any of them. It's hard for us to put even physical therapy and what your pain is first if we have all these other things that are rolling through your mind at the same time, and a million things that you want to get done and a million other things that are stressing you out as well, to be able to really put your health first. And those things do accumulate. That's kind of where my favorite cup analogy comes in. Now, if you have a cup full of grapes and an orange rolls into your lap, that orange isn't going to fit into your full cup until we empty out some of those smaller things. And life happens and big things fall on our plate a lot of times when we don't expect it. So I think that's a lot of what we've all learned this past year, handling things that we really never expected. So I think the more you can pick out those little things to manage, the more we can handle the bigger things that fall into our lap, especially, whether it be that all of a sudden you need surgery or whether it's long-standing pain that's been going on for a long time.
I really like your grape analogy. It makes me want to eat some grapes later, because then I can feel like I can fit an orange into my life if I do that. So it's a great message. And I think helping people understand that the evidence does show that when you do have higher levels of stress, when you're not coping as well, your cortisol levels are higher in your body. Physiologically, you're different. So your ability to manage pain is different, and your ability to heal is compromised. So if you do have an injury or do have pain, when you add stress in, it's like adding in some more grapes, so it makes it worse. So sometimes when you are dealing with pain, as Roxanne, who's listening, she does some crafts to relieve stress. Sometimes doing those activities can be just as helpful as going for a walk or taking some medication, because you're actually addressing one of the things that will exacerbate your symptoms and affect your healing. And I think that people forget that the changes that happen physiologically in your body when you're stressed impact your ability to heal. I just got off the phone with someone who was saying, my back's hurting, I've got a herniation, should I get surgery? Should I do PT? And of course I did my PT spiel, but I also said, I know I'm going to sound like a mother, but it's really important that you get a good night's sleep. It's really important that you eat lots of fruit and vegetables. Really important that you deal with your stress, because those things are all going to impact your ability to heal. So, great points about stress. I'm curious what other people did. So, we've heard from Roxanne, who's mentioned crafts. You mentioned being outside and exercising. So if there's other people listening, please let us know what you do to manage stress. I see that Tom Arcand out there doesn't have any stress because he is married to this lovely woman here. So that is a nice compliment, because I know you two were both recently married as well, and I'm sure having a wedding over COVID was a stressful time.
Just a little bit.
Any other advice, any other techniques that you give to patients or tell people about things to do to help manage stress, other than finding things they enjoy doing, such as breathing techniques, different things like that?
Yeah, I think breathing always is really important, especially like sleep is one of those really important aspects. So sometimes we do have patients that really need to take those couple minutes and work on some breathing before bedtime in order to kind of help down regulate a lot of those systems that might be overstressed and help you really get a good night's sleep and work on healing and anything else. And really focusing on quality of sleep. A lot of us don't get enough sleep because we do live in a high-paced lifestyle, but it's definitely another good focus. And I know I'm a list person. Not everybody is like that, but I still use a planner and list out things I need to do and prioritize those things to manage my caseload of what I need to do. Because if I have 10 things to do today, chances are I'm not going to get all those things done. So prioritizing those maybe 3 things I need to do today rather than taking all 10 and being a really daunting task.
I love lists. Tell me, Lindsay, how do you feel when you cross off something on the list?
So good. I get sad when I have to move on to the next day, but when they get crossed off, they're good.
So it feels good when you cross it off. And also, how does it feel when you write it down and take it out of your head and put it onto paper?
Yeah, that helps too, because it's very easy to get caught up with, all right, I just got home. What do I need to do? When it's there and it's on paper, pick my 1 or 2 things that need to get done and just be done with them and not stress about everything that I need to remember either.
Completely. And I hear of people actually putting notebooks beside their bed. So when they wake up in the middle of the night, there's a way to get it out of your brain. And there's something about, they've done studies that show something about the fact of writing something down, again, can be quite a meditative or restorative thing. Here's my notebook here. Like I have my fancy phone, but it's really, there's something about the handwritten note and crossing things off, and I've done this. So a great piece of advice and something that I hope people out there will hear. Christina Calby is out there. She's talking about her 5 minutes to step back and reflect, take a few deep breaths, go back to my day. I love it. It's a great technique for mindfulness. It's a great reminder to us. And again, the studies show that when you are mindful and consciously think about taking some breaths, you will decrease your heart rate. That will impact your blood pressure, and all those things impact your ability to cope and even to deal with pain and promote healing. So great advice, Christina. And we have a yogi out there, Chelsea Ann. Yoga before work and before bedtime helps me. I love yoga. I think it's pulls in not just the mindfulness and the breathing, but it's also optimizing your mobility, your flexibility, your strength, improving your posture, but and getting you to focus on yourself. So great points that are coming up. Let's jump over to nutrition. I did hear that Roxanne out there mentioned making sure she eats. Is there any such things as too much fruit in a day? Actually, let's start with that question. Lindsay, what are your thoughts on this question? Is there any such thing as too much fruit in a day?
For a normal, healthy individual, I would say we tend to undereat in the amount of like equal food groups. So I don't know if anyone truly ever eats too much fruit. I guess the only concerns would be like diabetic patients with sugar management. But, you know, if you're having your 2 to 3 servings, there shouldn't really be an issue beyond that.
And I think you just have to be, it's like anything in life when it comes to nutrition, it is all about that balance. And we usually find people aren't eating enough fruit and vegetables. So we're always trying to encourage it. But someone isn't going to feel well if all they ever ate was apples and oranges and bananas all day long, because you do need to get your protein. You're getting a lot of great fiber and a lot of good sugar and lots of good nutrients, but it's not very balanced if you stick just to fruit. However, I certainly am very wary of saying, oh, you shouldn't be eating that fruit. Like, eat your fruit, but throw in some vegetables as well, and keep your fruit colorful. If everything you eat is orange, that's not such a great thing. I've heard of another nutritionist talking about eating the colors of the rainbow. So look for fruits of different colors, because that will mean that you'll get more variety in the different kinds of nutrients that you're putting into your body rather than sticking to one color. What other nutritional advice are you finding that you've been giving patients, Lindsay? I know that, again, the pandemic, there are many different dietary habits that some of us may have taken on, some more healthy or less healthy than others. Let's speak a little bit about the impact of nutrition on people's ability to feel the best that they can.
Yes, I think in the beginning it was very easy to just, you're home, eat whatever you want at any hour you want, which, you quickly realize you don't feel good. But I think the more people try different things than what they're used to and realizing how good they feel eating better is what's truly going to motivate them. So a lot of times with patients, just discussing getting in more protein because most people don't get enough in their diet. And again, just more variety of foods because most people just tend to fall into their same routine of quick food or what they eat and takeout routines. So very much focusing on just eating a balanced diet and making you feel good. I know for me, that's always easier in the summertime when, the farmers markets are open and grilling more and all those things. But the winter definitely gets, I know for me, harder. So kind of remembering year round that to stay on those routines can really go a long way.
If I was going to come over to your house for dinner and I said, Lindsay, and now that your husband's here, I'm looking for an invite because maybe he'll help with that. I was going to come over for dinner and I said, let's have something really delicious and nutritious. What would we have if we came to your house?
So right now I don't even really have a working kitchen because we demoed it, so it might be a couple weeks. But for us, I know, well, I guess we'll speak to him. He's like a more plain Jane kind of guy than I am. So it'd probably be some sort of chicken breast with rice and veggies. Now that it's getting nicer out, I like to do veggies just on the grill, like little foil packs and just throwing veggies onto the grill in the summertime. So that's my go-to. Just a nice balance, carb, protein, and veg.
Perfect. And that's the nice thing. You can make it super simple. It is easy to cook when you're thinking, a carbohydrate, a vegetable, and a protein. And it's not that hard to actually manage a good, healthy diet at home when you have a kitchen, that is. All right, strength training. Strength training is another area that we're going to touch on today. And so I'd like your thoughts on how people can manage strength training, especially as the weather's warmer, and whether you choose to go to a gym or not. Let's focus a little bit more on not going to the gym and some ideas and tools for people and how they fit that strength training into their lifestyle.
Yeah, I know getting home equipment isn't always the most accessible to everyone, but I have been surprised with how many patients are more excited to get equipment now more than ever, which is great. But also finding equipment right now is hard. So for me, I back last year definitely took it outside more to do more body weight training. Same thing, find a park, find the bike path, find an area where you can get outside and do some body weight work. And I also like to use the super bands, or a little more resistance than like a TheraBand. You can use those in the house. You could find somewhere outside to hook those up and work through resistance training with something as simple as a band that can fit in your backpack. So it doesn't need to be anything crazy. You don't need all of this equipment to still give yourself a challenge at home. It's just a matter of doing it. A lot of times, people are either just runners or just do yoga. And I love those things too, but I'm very much someone who likes a little bit of everything. I grew up dancing. Once I stopped dancing, I definitely really still enjoyed yoga because of the flexibility and just movement of it. But I know that I also still need strength training and a little cardio in my life to keep me well balanced.
It's all about that balance. And you bring up a great point in regard to the strength training. And the research is out there. We need to do some kind of resisted training 2 or 3 times a week to optimize our muscle mass. Tell me, Lindsay, what are your favorite 3 body weight strength training exercises?
I've been getting more into push-ups because I am challenging myself to be able to work up to do not on your knees, not girly push-ups. So I think that's something that no matter what your fitness level, there's so many variations of it that there's always going to be something that fits you and always a way to make it harder. So I guess that's my number 1 right now. And you can always do body weight squats, air squats, and can always work in just overall core work as well, which can definitely be a challenge without any resistance.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump on your bandwagon a little bit and basically just do a shout out to say push-ups are an amazing exercise. And so often, especially women are like, oh, I don't want to do push-ups. They're too hard. It's not great. I don't want to have big muscly arms. But push-ups work so many muscles in your body. They're a very what we call functional exercise because you're working the same muscles that you use to lift things, to carry things. You're working your core at the same time. And there's also evidence to show that it actually helps to support you in the case you fall, especially as an older adult. People who can do a push-up means that if you slip and fall, then you can catch yourself. So from a safety side of things, the ability to be able to do a push-up actually can save you especially as you get older and if there is a risk of injuries from fall. So I'm definitely a big push-up person. Do I like doing them? I will admit I would much rather go for a run or do squats than go do push-ups. I had to force myself to do them, but I certainly feel empowered after doing them. So a good reminder and good for you, Lindsay. I look forward to seeing how many push-ups you can do in the course of 1 minute. So that's a challenge for everyone out there. How many push-ups can you do in a minute? Squats as well. Squats, so many variations, whether you're just doing simple sit to stand on a chair or whether you're holding deep squats, doing little pulses or doing them on one leg. I mean, put your arms in the air. There's so many ways you can do squats, and what a great way that what a great exercise that will work every muscle in your lower body, and again in a very functional way. If you can do squats, it's easier to climb stairs and walk up hills and all of those things, and make you happier and fitter. So we did put a poll out there. We're asking people in our community how they manage stress, or actually there it was, do you exercise to help manage stress? And here is what that, yes, 80% of people said they do exercise to manage stress. So obviously exercise not only helps with strength, flexibility, all of those things, it does help to manage your stress. We asked people what they actually did, and we see that there are a lot of runners out there, even as a hill sprinter, so good for that hill sprinter, shooting hoops, yogi, and bhakti yogi. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure that our guest, if they're listening, will help know what kind of yoga that is. But it sounds like yoga, running, all great ways to manage stress relief. All right, let's see who we have next week. Next week we have Aaron Ulversted is joining us. He's really going to focus on strength training. So join us next Wednesday at 1:00. We're also giving away a hypervolt. I'm sure we can have one on the show so people can understand how to use a hypervolt, what it's used for. We have them here at the clinics, but we're giving one away next week. So I would suggest that people sign up or come and join us. All right, Lindsay, you did allude that you'd been doing a little TV binging maybe in there at some stage. Any top TV shows or any top books or podcasts that you would recommend to the audience?
I think in the beginning of COVID, I binge watched every TV show possible. But my most recent book recommendation would be, I pre-ordered Stephanie Cohen's book, Back in Motion. It's about her journey through back pain. That she actually had back pain that started when she was in PT school. So it's a cool perspective as not only a therapist and also her experience as a patient, kind of through her back pain journey and her management through the medical system. So it's a good kind of digestible read. Don't need to be a PT to read it. And it gives you a great perspective on her journey through pain.
I love hearing those stories because I think they're great to share with people out in the community, because we do know there's such a high incidence. 80% of our population will have to deal with back pain at some stage, and it can be really scary, really frightening. But reading and hearing other people's stories can help manage some of that fear that's often associated. How do you think in the last year, when you see people with back pain, because of the stress of the pandemic, not just of COVID itself, but also their changes in their lifestyle, how do you think it's impacted people's ability to deal with pain? I know that's a very broad question, but do you think our community is different or evolving or changing?
I think at this point we're getting a little back to normal, but there's definitely a period there where I think everyone is a little more hypersensitive to pain and everything was very heightened. I think we're getting back to a point where things are a little better, but still dealing with a lot of people who, packed up their bags last March expecting to work from home for 1 week and are nowhere in sight of ever returning back to what their normal life is like still. So I think those are still our biggest challenges. I know for me, 6 weeks from home was enough for me. And I know for people who are still working from home and have still had their lives change so much, continuing to find new routines, I think is a little bit hard for our community because, things aren't still fully open. People aren't still fully back to what their normal is. So I think we're still kind of building some resiliency towards what our new normal is going to be as far as what we enjoy doing and finding ways to still participate as a community.
Do you think people are more conscientious about their bodies and how they take care of themselves now?
I definitely do. I got happy. I went for a little jog last night and there was a lot of people out walking yesterday, enjoying the nice weather. My husband works in the bike industry now, and there is a bike boom that exists from the past year. So I am excited that I think everyone has had a little more appreciation now for getting outside and really getting moving in different ways. I think at least this week, especially with a little bit longer days and the nicer weather and warming up, it's really going to be motivating everyone to be a little more active as we're getting out of those winter months and have all gone a little stir crazy.
Well, here we are today trying to help people continue on that journey, and I hope that the people listening have learned some tips today. I certainly will be thinking about Lindsay every time I eat grapes now and doing what I can to chip away at stress. Writing lists is a good reminder, figuring out how to put your push-ups, squats, core into your routine, into your weekly routine. Breathing is another way to help, and yoga to help manage some of that stress, and having colorful diets. Lindsay, thank you so much for being our guest today. I'm now going to give you, to sign off, actually, before we do our 10 seconds, we need to do our drawing to see who wins our jacket and our hat. Oh, I nearly forgot. That would have been unfortunate for the potential winner. So either Sarah or Nick is going to join us and let us know who the winner is in the drawing of our hat, our Performance PT Cap to keep the sunshine out of your eyes, which is a good thing. And we have a Nike jacket that we'll order specifically for the winner so that we get the size. So, Sarah, who is it?
All right, the winner for the Nike Dry Element Half Zip Cover Up and PPT Trucker Hat is Roxanne Raish. Congratulations, Roxanne. Awesome questions.
You showed how good it is to be heard and get your name up. So congratulations. We will reach out to you for that prize. And thank you everyone who joined. I look forward to people joining for next week when we'll talk more about strength training. But for now, we're going to sign off with Lindsay and giving her 10 seconds of her messages for you all.
Do I go now?
Yeah, you go now. It's all yours.
All right. Drink more water, get 10,000 steps a day, strength train at least 2 times a week, laugh more, smile more, do more of what you love, exercise with others, prioritize your sleep, enjoy the sun, and enjoy life.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.